Ready? Aim!
There's too many!
Anyone see my mammoth?
Stubby!
Hello! Oh. That's the one I want. Ah, that's better. Hello, 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 hello. I'm going to change out my worktop. That's what I forgot to do. I hope everyone's had a great few weeks. Yeah. Oh. Right, there we go. It's a bit better. Hope everyone's doing well. Hello, Denmark. About to leave for the FLGS to get in some games. Yes. Get some games in at your local friendly local game store. It's like bloody Eurovision on in here. Yes, Denmark, Finland, all present. Indeed, hope Timu's doing well. Hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone who's tuning in, wherever you are, is doing all right. Right, okay. I got carried away. Well, not carried away, but I'm a bit out of the zone, a bit out of the whole thing at the moment. So, I don't really have a topic for today. I'm just going to look through a few things that we haven't looked through in a while, and we'll crack on. Just have a short kind of update. If anyone is wondering why there wasn't an episode last week and why it's been relatively slow, ultimately, it's really weird. I don't really, of all of the things to say, is that I don't really think there's much to talk about. This is just like normal, what I would consider normal operating procedure. It's just things are happening and the things are good and things keep going, and that's good. The game is in a healthy place in regards balance, in regards to are people enjoying the game. On the most part, I think so. I think overall everyone is having a really good time, and that's a good thing. Yeah, I don't have anything to add, but at the same time, it's difficult for me to get excited by anything anymore. And I know that seems really weird, but like, I'm just not that interested. There's definitely drama, Martin, but like, I just can't be bothered with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's drama that I'm just kind of like, ugh, about. Because it's the same things. Like, CMON have not got back to people regarding LVO prize money or prizes which people asked to have as part of the Kickstarter. The US Nationals prize that I won last year hasn't been put in and put on again to the Kickstarter and the GameFound thing, and it's like, none of this is like a problem. I'm not saying that like this is like a major issue, but it's just, it feels really weird. It feels really weird that there isn't really anything to talk about, while at the same time there are things that aren't being done. And Tim says hello. Hi Tim. It's been a long time. And Tom, yes, I can imagine you're absolutely knackered from running yesterday's event. So yeah, I don't want anyone to get down. I don't want anyone to feel down or anything like that. But Evil Sponge was kind of right. Things are pretty stale. It doesn't help that Season 3, for a lot of people, at least in my book, Season 3 and Season 4 have felt very similar competitively. Yes, I know, like, Golden Company Swordsman didn't change, and I know, like, whatever, no longer big. Yeah, I just don't feel excited by it. Not in the same way. It hasn't helped that locally we've stopped playing. We've moved on to other games locally. And they're not games that I think we'd ever play competitively, and certainly we will always go back to Song. My local group is likely attending the Darlington GT and the Northern GT here in 2 weeks. Not this weekend, the weekend after. So it's very likely I'm going to still play the game. I'm still going to be going to events. But it's really weird. I'm not excited about the game in the same way, and ultimately I'm struggling to think about the game. What do I mean by that? Well, for those of you who didn't know, we have... Old World is a menace. Don't worry, we haven't moved on to Old World. We've definitely not moved on to Old World. We've been painting up different things. A lot of my group has gone over to Legio Imperialis because 30k is very kind of popular. 30k and 40k lore is very popular in our group because we all grew up with 40k lore and 30k lore, and we enjoy the 40k setting. We are all players who do not like 40k as a game. We do not like GW in general, but the Black Library and the stuff that they've done for the Siege of Terror, etc., is of particular interest, especially to a few people. So we've been going into that. I've been obviously away from the club for a while. Went back for the first time in a few months last week to catch up with them. But I'm doing modelling, like normal modelling, right? And just enjoying myself. Yesterday, for example, and I'm not trying to derail the chat, don't worry. Yesterday, I put together an X-Wing. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed putting a model together and just sat there and, shaving things down. This model is from, like, the late 80s, I think. I enjoyed doing this. This is my next project, is to get the paintbrush, get the airbrush out, and actually do a once over with it. It's got a few holes I need to fill in with some putty as well. But yeah, just doing other things. So it is what it is. But yeah. Pew pew pew, exactly. So anyway, yeah, that's it. It was just different setting, different. Don't get me wrong, song stuff is cool. I just spent another £200, I think, and I spent another £200 and eventually bought some more stuff for Song the other day because giant spear throwers have been released. So obviously there to join the Free Folk horde at the corner there. I decided that another army might be worth purchasing. People saying that the X-Wing's nice. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I also have this. When I say I was doing other things, a TIE Interceptor and an A-Wing. For those of you who know your Star Wars lore, A-Wings are definitely one of the best. Not quite Y-Wing level superiority, but A-Wings are up there. I also have the 1992 Millennium Falcon up there. 18-inch long Millennium Falcon that I'm going to build. That's not built yet, it's still in parts. So I've been enjoying that. And not Song. I played a game yesterday to try and get myself back in the headspace for it while my wife was at work. And I played a game and I enjoyed it and it was cool. And afterwards I kind of went, sure. It's the opponent I played against, lovely guy, not a problem with that. But he was talking to me after the game, and he was like, "Oh, about this strategy. What about this strategy? Oh, etc. etc. And oh, the strategy. Your list is just way better than mine, and I was never going to win. And strategy this." And I honestly, I was just sat there, kind of like, I don't know what to say. Like, there are options that you have as a strategy. There are options you have as a player to take control of any situation, and you didn't choose to do that, and you lost. And I know that seems really dismissive, but that's kind of basically how I felt. I felt when I lose games, it's usually because I've made stupid mistakes or I've never tried to take control of the game. And then my advice with other players is just kind of like, be better, just don't do what you did and do other things that were better options. And that's really not very useful, which is another reason why I've not been on. Because if I don't have anything good to say, if I don't have anything nice to say, I don't have anything useful to say, then what is the point in saying it at all? So yeah, there's a little bit of that as well. I feel ya, says Emil. Yeah, maybe. So anyway, get good, exactly. That's not the point though, and that is dismissive. And that's, Crone's actually right. I didn't have the energy. I don't have energy. My motivation at the moment is quite low, and my energy levels are low anyway. Nothing to do with the game. It's independent of the game. I'm just tired, to put it bluntly. And the game doesn't excite me in that way anymore. So many players are looking for answers in their lists rather than looking at their own skill set. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt, Martin. Is I felt a lot like I'm not going to say I'm playing like balanced lists that are easy to beat or anything like that, but like I want to play lists that are heavily skewed, and I feel like it comes down to how you play the game and what you do. Yeah, I don't know. No, thank you, pal. But if you can't see on the camera, it's not so bad. Yeah, you can't. But when my hair is short like this, you notice all the greys. This is not entirely sheen from the window there. That is partially the grey, which is probably from stress. But hey ho. So yeah, that's been that. That's been what I've been doing. Your version of semi-retirement from Song is probably more games than my active periods. Maybe, I mean, I've played a game yesterday, and then before that, let's check. The game that I played before that was literally about a month ago. I basically had a whole month and didn't play a single game. So yeah. The thing is, people saying like, "Oh, different breaks, breaks are useful, etc." Yeah, you're right. Like, breaks are useful. Breaks are good. But actually, it's interesting feeling revitalized. I don't feel revitalized right now. I look at things, I'm just going, yeah, whatever. It doesn't help that I think for a lot of factions, I feel that list building is boring. It isn't. Like, this is actually something I want to add as well. List building isn't that boring. I think there is interesting discussions to be had. There's interesting ways of building lists. Obviously, what you're trying to beat is different. Like, you actually look at what is doing well, and we see Baratheon's doing well. It's like this baffles me. But yeah, like, it is what it is. Was that dual moment game versus me? I'm pretty sure it was, Crones. Yeah, it was. So it's a chill game I played against you. I played against Euster the day before as well. But the thing is that, like, I look at this and I just think, Jesus, Baratheons are really beatable. I look at my own history, and I played a game against Euster, who came with an anti free float list to test it out, and he beat me. So I'm thinking now, is there things I need to do in my faction? Is there things I can do to change how I play? Is there whole strategy changes that I need to consider? But ultimately, I'm kind of looking at the same units and the same list building, and I just think it's all the same as it was a year ago. It's all the same as it was even just like 5 minutes ago. So yeah, difficult. Feel down about the game, you read the books or watch the show. Yeah, when something new comes along, always want to play after that and other games in between. Yeah, the thing is, I've been playing a lot of video games. For those of you who don't know, I play a lot of Dota, too much Dota. But I've been playing some indie stuff as well. Just having fun. Doing stuff, mostly video gaming a lot more. But yeah. And yeah, Carly's right. Congrats on the event at the weekend, Tom. We will have a little look at that. For those of you who don't know, Tom ran War in the Riverlands. Sorry, I think it was War in the Riverlands was the name. But it was an event in Leeds. Conquest of the Riverlands, I apologise. This was a custom rule event where they made some rules up. Helldivers 2 as well. It's used to, yeah. Pal, Helldivers 2 is a good fun game. So they ran an event in Leeds with some custom rules. I was originally going to go. Tom sent me the rules early. It wasn't for me, to put it like that. That's not to say it's bad. That's completely not what I would say. But I didn't like the rules that were being presented myself. And as we saw, the problem is there was 30 players, potentially 32, and with only 3 rounds, it ended up with 3 undefeated players. So it came down to tiebreakers. So we saw James Harrison winning, Paul Whitehead, Soup Dragon, in second place, with Stephen Connor, Psycho Steve, and Adam Thicket, Viper, all undefeated. Steve is not a surprise, probably, that he did quite well. Steve's obviously a very good player. Probably, I would suggest, the actual best player at the event. But James, I don't know much about. James plays a lot Leodis Legion, but I don't know if he plays a lot outside of the Leeds area, so it'd be good to see him kind of travel a little bit more. Paul, though, I play a lot at events with Paul and see Paul at a lot of events. He's a prolific traveller in the UK to events, and it's good to see Paul doing well. It's always a pleasure. And Paul's a lovely guy. And the last one is Adam as well. Adam is someone I used to go to university with, who used to play Frisbee with and everything, and found out he picked up the game. So I went and visited him before this event. I went for a weekend away down to see him and his wife, who I've known for years. And I spent the weekend with him talking about list building. We played a mock game, gave him some tips. And I'm really glad he went undefeated in the event, because he's stoked. He really wants to get quite good. He's been more active on the main Discords and stuff. So I'm really happy that Adam did well. So congrats, Adam, mate. But yeah, it was a really cool event. Not really for me when I looked through the stuff, but yeah, there was tons of rules added on. So maximum 2 NCU. There was no neutrals except if you're neutrals, obviously. There was missing characters as well, so certain characters couldn't appear in certain factions, and that was to prevent certain things from being played. And so we saw a bit of a mixture of results. Nothing overly surprising, I think, with Stark and Lannister, who... Lannister, if you actually look at the bans, if you will, saw no Joffrey or Kevin appearing, which in the modern version of the game, this was written in Season 3. They did review it for Season 4 when the changes happened. But no Kevin, not a big deal anymore. No Joffrey, again, not a huge big deal. Ironically, it just closes down things like the Red Cloak builds. But it still allows the Gregor builds that we see with Tywin NCU, etc. So, like, Lannister's just unchanged. Stark not having Eddard and Robb was a very interesting decision. But obviously, Great John Umber is a huge component of a lot of Stark list building. And we actually see Steve picking up Brynden. Brynden Outrider Commander, in my opinion, very playable, very competitively viable. I don't think we saw Outrider, we saw Blackfish on foot, but it wouldn't surprise me if someone had played Outrider. Outrider and Great John as a list pair. Martell's, the interesting thing with Martell's is Martell's only had one ban, which was Harmon Ulla. And Harmon Ulla is a strong commander, but, you know, we're seeing the rise of Oberyn, we're seeing the rise of Darkstar in terms of playability, in terms of how often they're played. So it doesn't surprise me again that we see Martell's doing quite well, because this traditional list building works. Baratheon, see Stannis and Renly not picked. And that basically leaves Loras and maybe Courtney, and maybe Axel, but the Baratheon draw is really low there. There's, you know, let's have a look, see what people were running. Loras, Eldon, yeah, Loras, Andrew, okay. I wonder, did they lose with... Win with Loras, lose with Eldon, win with Loras. Win with Andrew, fair. Win with Loras, lose with Loras. Okay, fair enough. But Andrew is a sad man. I'm glad Stephen won a game with Andrew, but he's a terrible commander. But yeah, on the most part, you know, for me, that kind of neutered a lot of what Baratheons were doing. Free Folk, Mance and Varamir, ironically, when I first heard that, I was like, that literally doesn't change list building at all. The 2 NCUs does, but like the rest doesn't. I don't care. Greyjoy's no Bail on NCU. Very sad. And no Vic. Even more sad. Boltons can include neutrals, but not Stormcrow neutrals, which basically meant just Bolton neutrals anyway. Plus a few others. Steve Norris is an awesome painter, and this is his first event. Oh, cool. Be good to see it have a few more painters on the circuit. I think it's one of the few things we lack is the UK has some very good painters, and we have quite a few medium level painters. Like, I would say we've got some really good middle ground, right? Some sterling middle ground. And we have some really, really good, like what I would consider definitely tabletop through to very few I would call massive competition painters, but they're all people, you know, these are not individuals who are winning Golden Demons, but they are winning like the painting competitions of every event they go to. The likes of Chris F&M, Tim Whitney, even Dan, OJ down in London as well, or Essex. These are like really the top quality painters in the UK on the circuit at the moment. And then we have like second tier. I think, you know, Carlo's stuff is actually really quite nice. I think you've got a few of the other guys that do some great painting as well. But I do think there's a bit of a gap. You know, I think there's the top 4 or the top 5 painters are brilliant. And there probably are more, so I forgive those people I didn't mention. And then you've probably got like the guys in the middle, and there's just a bit of a gap. So more painters entering the scene between those top and bottom would be cool. Yeah, so Stephen Norris won, so that's good. Matt Austin as well, which has been around for a while. Even Dan. Dan's nice. I like Dan. Dan's my friend, and he's a good painter. Best one in our group by a country mile. And also, one of the things that people don't appreciate is Dan's speed at painting. Dan, when we used to have a war, we used to play Necromunda, right? Necromunda gangs or Wartime gangs, and then you'd play on a Friday, and your gang, like someone would get injured, they'd have their legs chopped off, etc., etc. You know, a roll for injuries, etc. after games, what have you, maybe recruit some new people. Dan would turn up the next week with the models he had the previous week, with the changes already modelled and painted and sculpted, etc., already on them. So if someone had their leg injured and they had a bionic limb, he'd have replaced the bionic limb and had it painted and everything, and it would look seamless. And then he'd also painted up the new gangers, etc. And he would always come every week with all of the changes implemented into his warband. And I'm always like, what do you spend all your time doing? Because clearly your 38-hour-a-week job is not taking up 38 hours of your time. So yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, and then Night's Watch had some serious kind of changes to it as well. Yeah, it honestly seemed like a really fun event. They also changed the scenarios, and this for me was... I'm not a big fan of bans, but I get it. For a narrative event, it makes sense. I understand why the characters weren't allowed. I had no issues with that per se. It's not my favourite thing, but it is what it is. This is the bit where I kind of went, oh my god. Because I'm trying to min-max these scenarios, and you can min-max them a little bit. But yeah, I did min-max them a little bit in my head and thought, right, you'd want to do this, or this. And that's kind of like the advice I gave to Adam in his own list building. But yeah, that's where I realised that, oh god, I don't want to do this kind of mental thinking because I'm already not playing the game very much. Why would I want to invest even more time thinking about list building and the game? So yeah, not for me. Yeah, it is for fun, 100%, Carly. And this is what I'm trying to say. I make a big point of it because this is fun. This is definitely something people should do. People should try this. I think the event that Tom has run is really good. I think events like this need to be and need to exist. And I think it's very important that people do this kind of thing. So I'm not saying the event is a bad event at all. It just isn't it isn't my thing. And that's kind of the problem with my own mindset. And I'm actually going to go back to a little bit of what Thomas was saying. Well, Thomas or Nachlaud was saying. He said, killing that poor Bolton player. Yeah, I killed a poor Bolton player yesterday. To get in front of Larks again, just in time for the stream. Yeah. It's not why I did it. It's not why I played the game. But actually, this is something else I wanted to briefly mention, which is I have had a mental block recently on something that's never really bothered me in the same way as it does or has done more recently, which is this number here. Right? This completely imaginary, made-up number that is not really that important whatsoever has prevented me playing games. And I'm being super honest when I say that. I look at that number and go, cool, that's fun, that's good, I want to play a game. And then I go, oh, fuck my life. I don't want the number to go down, so I don't play. And that has been my own... That's no one else's issue. My issue to deal with. But that's the mentality I've been in, and that's not healthy anyway. It's not healthy to go into games thinking, I can't lose. So that's, again, part of it. Which is why I took an event like this, and this is what made me kind of realise all of this wasn't good, is I look at this event, and I am trying to min-max it. Because I know that me losing one game here is hours worth of work. And that's the wrong mindset. What I should be saying is, let's go and play some fun games and enjoy myself. Who gives a shit about the imaginary number? And that's a mental barrier that I've struggled with in the last few weeks as well, or last month or so. Probably 2 months, actually, because I stopped playing a lot. Yeah. Problems of a MOBA player. Yeah, I've been playing LOL, done that, exactly. And the thing is, it's not important. Like, the number isn't important, and I know it's not important. I make this actual point to a lot of people. The number is not important. It's just sometimes you just like, ugh. It further lowers that already low motivation, and that is a problem. Anyway, that's where I've been. That's about me. Yeah, exactly. I imagine the rank 1 tennis players turn up to a tennis tournament and perform like crap, and your rating drops through the floor, and it's just, really sad. Anyway, that's this event. Do have a little look at it. So the rules are all described here. Tom does have a PDF with all the rules on as well. I don't know if the old PDF that I've got from him is the same one as they ended up using, because he sent me the original way back when he first sent it to me a long time ago. But yeah, when he sent them back to me a while ago, I had them. I don't know. Facebook changed their policy, didn't they, on bloody end-to-end encryption stuff, which they've all changed, which means I don't have access to our chat. Oh, that's sad. Tom, if you want to send it to me again, mate, just let me know. And I can always post a link. Or if you've got a link that's open, you updated one the scenario's in, awesome. If you've got a link you can want to send me on Discord or send me on Facebook, I can post it in the chat as well, so everyone can access it and use it for their own events if they want. And doing another next year, awards and trophies, prize support, insane, especially gaming figures, yeah. And this comes back to another thing, like, this is really backward, and I'm not having a go at Tom here, because what Tom's done is brilliant. CMON and Asmodee UK were able to organise prize support. Now, part of the reason this is really confusing, there are literally events in the US that are qualifiers for these events, and they legitimately cannot get prize support. We've had national level events that cannot get prize support. Right? All of these things, and Tom is able to get prize support for an event in Leeds that's a fun event for the community. I'm like, oh, it's a good thing, but like, what the fuck? Like, literally, what the fuck? How do they decide this? How do they decide who they do and don't communicate with? Because the short answer is they don't, it seems. Yeah, it's taken 2.5 years to get anything. 2 to 3 emails a month. Yeah. This is the weird thing, isn't it, Tom? Years of trying, and then all of a sudden you get something. And you're like, great. Yeah, Grand Clash in Quebec didn't get their prize support, which was promised to them months ago. Communication from Adam has been lax at best. Now, I know that his job is not just song. I'm aware enough that he probably does other things. At least I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. People have been, 3D printing prize support out here. Exactly, which is what we've been doing in the UK for donkeys at this point. Scotland especially, right? I know that the Scottish guy's been printing loads of stuff, in fact. It's just weird. It's just weird. There's no consistency. And that doesn't mean that I'm upset when it happens. That's not at all what I would say. You know, Tom's done a great job, and I'm glad Tom actually got it sorted. I'm really happy. This is why I'm tired as well. Like, what? Like, what? How does this come about? How does it not come about? Why do some people seem to get ignored? Why do others not? What is the process? Because I'm not actually a big fan of CMON sending out prize support to every event. I think that is going to be a path that leads to insanity, because I just genuinely think, you know, if every event got prize support, you'd end up with CMON just giving away the game. They'd never sell any product. It would just all be given away at events. Right, fair enough. It just seems really backwards and forwards. I don't know. Tom, you might want to resend that because it didn't come through. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. It literally just came through after I messaged you. I will download this. I will stick this on Discord, I think, in the I'll stick it in Discord in the main channel, Tourney Ground and content creation. I'll just drop the link in there for anyone who wants it. Anyone who's not on Discord, do feel free to message me or message or drop any comment underneath below or something like that, and I'll find a way of storing it online somewhere where you can access it. So yeah, that's all good. All righty then. So yeah, well done for that event, Tom. Well done for all of the 4 undefeated players as well. Well done for all of that, and it looked really good. The images online and kind of like what was posted, and the rhetoric certainly around the event was really promising. People seem to like it. People enjoy it, and that's the most important thing with any event, is making sure players enjoy it, and they did. So well done, mate. Does sterling job up there in Leeds. And I still have yet to go to an event, and it's funny because I now have to go down to Leeds all the time for work. So Leeds and Huddersfield. I'd love to see more price support that isn't just game product. Yeah, stuff that isn't game product. Sleeves, pass tokens. Haven't seen any cool pass tokens yet, so if anyone's got any cool pass tokens that they think are funny or particularly interesting or cool, that'll be interesting to see. Other just fun stuff as well, stuff that's fun and easy for the game. So yeah, I think anything like that is cool. Just reminded me, I may have something that I'll need to sort out where that is. I wonder what percentage of song players go to events, says Tim. I know 40k, it's single-digit percentages. Well, the point is, like, it's not many people, Tim, as a percentage, probably. But actually, the game is, like, 40k's on every shelf. Whereas the game, this game isn't. So it's actually relatively unlikely that this game will be played by lots more people than we already know. And if it isn't played by more people, then the number of players who attend events is probably very similar. At least in scale. It might only be 50%, but it's going to be a lot higher than single-digit percentages. Condition token organisers, yes, they're cool. 3D printed condition token organisers would be amazing. I would love someone if they brought me one of those. Well, I've recently got one. Yeah, funny monkey things for LVO. Run a standard boring tournament for me. Don't worry, Tom. I'll get out of my slump and just head down for some reason. play something fun. And that brings me on to the point of someone said, I better not have bought Baratheons. I didn't buy Baratheons, no. I bought a faction that is perennially low on the list of power level, and a faction that I genuinely enjoy playing and think is fun. And I'll see if I get everything that I can arrive this week, then I might be able to even run it at Northern GT for a laugh. We'll see. We will see if the list arrives. It won't be painted, and I'm sorry, Northern GT attendees. It's because I don't even own it yet. You're not here. But if it arrives, I will run these lists. Potentially. Because I think it's super stupid. So, yeah. Mini Castle trophies. I did see those, Tom. Yeah. So, let's have a little look. I know you send them on Facebook. Honestly, Facebook Messenger is just the worst. I've decided that, by the way. Communicating efficiently using Facebook Messenger is genuinely a waste of time, which is a big shame. But yeah, they did have these little castle wall things. So I do believe. Here we go. He's actually sent the images through. So let's whip these up on here. Excuse the random formatting error. There we go. So this was all made by the guys. And I thought these were cool. So you got the Ghost of Harrenhal, the Raider of Riverrun, the Blackfish Award, the Terror of the Twins, and the Scourge of Seaguard, among other trophies. Okay, you can see all the trophies there as well. The castles, I will open this image in a new tab so you can see them. It would make more sense if I moved this one, wouldn't it? And did this. There we go. So those are the castles there. Kind of like better shot of them. And they are really cool. They're really awesome. I actually thought this was a great idea. And they're truly unique, right? There will be nowhere else in the world. Although the castles themselves you could probably get, these are completely unique. You will not be able to buy this off the shelf as is. And it's stuff like this goes a long way. And is probably more popular than any of the kind of product stuff that gets given out. I think this is again something that is just worth reminding people, is that good prize support isn't product. And that's actually where CMON has perennially got this wrong, is we want some product from CMON, but what we actually want is we want stuff that is interesting and fun. Where are the game night kits? Where are the kind of unique stuff? Like, I'm not joking. That, the Goat Helmet Vargo, would probably go down better for a lot of players of this game because of how unique it is, in theory, and how rare it is to obtain. That will be more popular for most players. Let's try and get it nice and focused in on him. It won't focus properly. But that would be more popular for most players than nearly any unit box you could imagine. Like, that has more benefit to Song and more benefit to players and more interest to people attending events than literally anything that I can get from that shelf. I think it's crazy. Because this is unique. This is different. These aren't even opened. These are just sat on the shelf. What about them? Essential promo or Stannis promo? Those would be more popular. than a box of CMON product. And that's not to say that what was there wasn't good. It's just, I just think it's crazy that they have this fixation on direct product rather than actual cool stuff. You'll be able to get one this year. See you later, Tim. Have a good one. We were too busy playing concepts. Yeah, probably. I got given a handful to bring back to the UK. Gave one of mine away to the organisers, the LGT, to hand out. And I think they handed out to most spirited player, I think. Or, like, person who got the most votes for best sportsman. That's it. And they handed out a goat helm guy. I gave the gold Renly to Pascal, one of the patrons that we've got on stats, and a fierce Baratheon player. He got the gold Renly. Orgmo, if those you know who Orgmo is. Pascal, lovely bloke. So yeah. It's just interesting, isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? Weird. Anyway, that event ran really cool, awesome. It isn't the only event to run. There's been obviously quite a few events that have been running. I'm not going to go through them all. It wouldn't be right to go through them all. But Spain's been keeping up with their kind of regular 30-ish player events, and people have been winning, people have been losing, as is the case with all events. Generally speaking, things have been going well, and this is kind of where else we had the Conquest of Dubai, who actually turned up in the end. 12 players. Nice. Who do they get? Convar. Interesting. Name I know from the Rob Kesterson was there as well. Good, because he's probably running the whole thing. Good to see that the Dubai scene is at least keeping up, which is good. But yeah, the events are being played and people are enjoying the game. This is actually, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not. That is happening. It's just the game is a bit stagnant. And I think someone asked earlier, what would I want to see changed to keep the game fresh? Mitchell won in Sacramento. Awesome. Congrats, Mitchell. Logical, right? Because if it is logical, then I've met Mitchell. He's a nice guy, and it's cool. You have your first 10-player tournament at a local store in PA. Nice. Well done, Sam. Keep that up. I know you've been trying hard to get some stuff going down there, so that'd be awesome. Yeah. So it comes to this list here. Boltons are coming up. Baratheon's at the top. The difference between top and bottom is like 60. Give or take like 2 or 3. The gap between top and bottom is 60 in terms of faction. Harmon is 62. And the worst commander is minus 40, I think. No, Grey Worm at minus 70. So the difference between commander quality is 130 difference, which is low compared to where it has been. But actually, it's showing, for me, an interesting disparity in that there is still difference in commanders. There is still significant difference. Yeah, I mean, Grey Worm and Steel Shanks are exceptionally bad. That's when I said minus 40. If you look at the rest are at minus 40. That was half there. The difference is about 100. 50 in the main factions, 100 in the commanders. And yeah, plug it in. I could do that, yeah. Baratheon versus Bolton. The best faction in the game versus the worst faction in the game is at best, or around a 60% chance. Call it. That's really not bad. Like, it isn't bad. And if you pick a worse commander, I know Andrew's... Actually, is Andrew really not that bad at the moment? Who's doing badly? No. Let's have a look, actually. Let's filter by Baratheon and pick the worst one. for argument's sake. Stannis, King at the Wall. Oh, wow. Sadness. The cavalry commander. King at the Wall versus... Who's the best Bolton? Probably Roose. Vargo. Amazing. Honestly amazing. The best Bolton is Vargo. Sorry, that just makes me laugh. That there is a huge amount of irony in that. Fucking hell. Alright, so yeah, it's 53%. So if you played the best versus the worst with the best commander versus the worst commander, then it's a 53%, which really isn't bad. If we actually think of like best in the game, what is Martel Allah? This is like the best in the game versus the worst in the game. It's only a 70%. And that is nowhere near as big as it has been in the past. So the game is fine. Like, the game is fine. It's just that the game's not seeing change. Yeah. I tell you what, I have to say this. I have to say it. It just reminded me. So because the centre we play in, or the games, the gaming club that we go to, is in like 18th century barracks, and the community centre, the hall, where it's all based, gets ghost hunters. Now our gaming club is upstairs, which we rent out permanently. Go there now, play all night, got the keys, go whenever we want, in and out. It's great. But downstairs in the other areas, obviously they rent out to different people, or they, space that you can hire it, etc. And ghost hunters do a night a month, maybe a night every few months there. And they were in on Friday when I was at the club on Friday, and they come up usually just to let us know that they're in and not to lock the doors, etc., which is fine. And they're ghost hunters, right? They're ghost hunters. And they said, I'm glad that we knew you were here. We didn't want you coming down and scaring the life out of us. And that, for me, even just saying that, I find that very funny. The idea, yeah, that she said that, and I had to just turn away from her. She was talking to Dan, and I just turned away from her and couldn't look her in the eye until she'd left, and I just burst out laughing. That really tickled me in a way that I can't explain, but I found that incredibly funny. All right. Anyway, I don't expect anyone else to find that funny. Don't worry. Just had to share it. What else have we had going on? But yeah, tournaments. That's it, really. That's all I really wanted to cover. What do I want to happen to? What do I want to happen for the game to be more fun or less stale? The sad thing is I don't really know. I don't. I don't know. I think it just needs something new. Good idea, Chris. I don't know. I guess game mode changes would probably freshen it up a little bit. Timu says it's not stale at all, which is fair enough, Timu. Probably pacing yourself on playing a faction, not played much before, lots to discover. I think I've just played. I mean, I've literally played everything. Apart from maybe a few attachments. And I think that's actually the thing, is they need to make attachments more interesting across the board. And I know that's kind of what they're looking to do, certainly around Free Folk in the next patch. But they just need to make the game more interesting around attachments and running attachments that don't see play. Because there are not that many interesting attachments in the game that are worth putting in lists most of the time. That's not to say there are none. There are definitely some. I think it's interesting that Ramsey is a good example. Ramsey 2-pointer is doing well because he's actually probably one of the better 2-pointers in the game, with Ramsey Reek package. But that's it. I'd love to see more. I'd love to see more good attachments. The game is fine and fun, it's just that at some point you have seen it all. Kind of the same with every game. Yeah. The other thing is that there's a lot about the game that I'm not actually enjoying. So this is really hard to explain. I'm not enjoying the theory crafting of the game. And that is to say, when I think about building lists, my list building is warped by what I perceive to be good and what I perceive I will have to play into. And knowing that I have to play into that means I then build lists that are capable of dealing with it. And that pushes me into very finite list building options. Because most of the time, I'm looking at lists and I'm like, how do I survive a night charge? How do I win a game against night charges? So yeah. That's fair, Tom. You see, the thing is, that's fair, right? And this is actually kind of... I agree with you in that attachments aren't used, but they can be fun. I think the problem is, it's knowing that when you put certain attachments in a unit, it doesn't actually improve their efficiency or improve what they do. And the same solutions that were good against them still exist, etc., etc. So it's not a case of not wanting attachments. It's a question of, from a competitive angle, attachments aren't making lists better when they are being added. I don't need them to make lists much better, but to have them as an option is strong. And this is the thing, I agree, I ironically do agree with you. Attachments are fun. And they are fun. In fact, I would say that having lots of powerful and useful and usable attachments would make the game more fun overall. Because people would be more inclined to take them, which means more characters, which means more differences in people's list building, differences in what you see, differences in how you deal with it. And overall, there'd be more characters, and that would make it more fun. And there'd be less empty units, which would make it more fun. That's the thing, Tom, right? You've hit the nail on the head, but even competitive players are saying the same thing, which is we want more attachments to be fun, and we want more attachments to be good. Because then we feel we're not negatively impacting a build just to include attachments that we want to include. we want what you've got, Tom, is that we want those attachments in our lists, but at the moment we feel that we can't do it because they're just not good. So yeah. That sounds weird, Tom, but like, you hit the nail on the head. But almost like from your angle, and yet we don't feel differently. It's all players feel like that. It's just that if you're not beholden to the competitive meta in the same way, if you're not thinking about what you have to beat and what you don't need to beat, or kind of like what I discussed earlier about min-maxing, then if you don't have to min-max, that discussion and that kind of line of thought disappears, and it's not a problem. And that's a good thing. Yeah, Season 4 has already seen more attachments. You see lots more in Night's Watch and Greyjoys, and they do make lists better. Yeah, they do. Except if I think about the best list in Night's Watch has kind of one attachment, because you have a point left over, in my opinion. And if you think about the best Greyjoy list, it literally doesn't use one of the attachments that it should use because it doubles down the effectiveness of the list, and you don't see it because it's not that good, and it's the points don't exist for it. I also think they should just get away with all the generic attachments. Just do away with them. Everything just be a named attachment. Make them all interesting and fun, and everything should have a name. Because I mean, I want someone to be honest here. There's only 27 of you watching, so not a huge sample size, right? But let's put on the screen an attachment I expect no one here to have ever used. Oops. If you click on the right one, it would be good. Oh, I know someone's going to have done it. Like, that's... Has anyone ever used Gaillard the Green? I have seen someone use Robar Royce. But has anyone actually ever seen anyone use Robar Royce or Gaillard Green? I've never seen anyone use Gaillard Morrigan. Like, genuinely have never seen this model hit the table. Not, like, Rainbow Guard differently. Kurt says he tried it once. So, most people are saying no. Powerlifter Troglodyte. It's funny because Powerlifter Troglodyte could very easily be Chris Baker under a pseudonym. And if it is, then thank you. If it isn't, and your name is just Powerlifter Troglodyte, that's amazing. I love you. You've seen it, fair enough. Casual play, of course. Yeah. He's worse Dale Seaworth, and Dale Seaworth is bad. Yep. Use more experienced characters. He's too green. Yes, but only in casual play. 2 abilities at the low cost of just 2 points. That's an ability per point. Yeah, so there you go. This is one of those attachments, genuinely, where I'm like, why would anybody pay 2 points for this? Like this is such a waste of 2 points. It's unreal. If this was 1 point, this is the funny thing. If this was 1 point, you would pick this in like Rose Knight lists, and you'd be like, oh, it's a Gaillard Morrigan list. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's fun. I think that 1 point attachment might be worth it. But at 2 points, you're like, why on earth would you ever put this in a list? Why? There's always Stormcrow Mercs. Yeah, exactly. Tom will sit there and have there too many abilities repeats. Yeah, I do think we need some repeats. Some factions want certain abilities to exist. Like, does it surprise me that Dauntless exists across multiple attachments inside Baratheon? Especially on, like, Loras' side? No. Or Renly's side, I should say. Not at all. Like, I think that makes sense. I think Dauntless is a very Renly Baratheon side kind of ability, if you will. So I'm fine with it existing multiple times on different attachments, etc., because thematically it kind of makes sense and it would play into the idea. The fact that Dauntless is just like 100 things in the game, yeah, like, what's the point? Also, really am fed up with the argument that Carl gave us, which is there's always Stormcrow Mercs. You're right, Carl, and that's kind of the problem, is that there's a lot of this kind of build your own bear style stuff always that exists in the game. But it's just like, I could put this in a 7-point unit and have 9 points wrapped onto this cool, like, Death Star-y type thing. Or if I really like the attachment, I just put it in the cheapest fucking thing I can because the attachment's worth bringing, regardless of what unit it's in. And it just makes me sad every time because that's probably the right way to build lists. And I say that as someone who has free folk and 1-point attachment discounts in free folk where exactly the same is true. And I'm just fed up with it. I'm actually fed up with that being a strategy and that being the strategy. Maybe it isn't. Maybe that 6 and 7 activation lists are the way forward in the game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all of life's problems were solved with pass tokens. I will run the next episode of Tourney Ground when that's the case. Because I do not believe anything I just said. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I remember the repeated tactics card discussion, Martin. Yeah, there was a lot of repeated cards in Targs. A lot. It was funny, like half the commanders or something didn't have unique cards. And then you looked at the unique cards they did have and you looked at people like Belwas and were like, oh my god, this is terrible. Why have you done this? Yeah. It is what it is. Alright. Alright. So, yeah. That be how. Sorry, I got hairs. That be how the cookie crumbles. The numbers only bring pain. Numbers. Yeah. Overall, what if each faction should have their own adaptive unit? Yeah, maybe. Maybe, but like, it's just sad because that becomes the route, and we've just seen a 7-point adaptive unit get released, and people are already like, oh, it sucks. Which is probably right, because it's 7 points, and it probably sucks. I don't know. Don't listen to me. I'm just an old man, a washed up, dried up player who stands on the roof and shouts at clouds. I'm angry. Yeah. Go enjoy the game. If you are enjoying the game, go and enjoy it, because, like, all of my sadness and depression aside, the game is fun. right? The game is fun. Oh look, West Coast Bannerman's best terrain thing. Still working. I will post that link in chat. Hey. The game is still fun. Like, the game is fun. People should go away and enjoy the game. By all means. Like, it's good. If the sword ability was a bit better, it'd be good. Winterfell guards are awesome. People can't appreciate shit. Every bit as strong as King's men. Plus their attack dice when they have swords. That would be nuts. West Coast Carl has asked me to post that link. If you've got terrain uses, there's a little questionnaire thing. He'll probably run his next video based on what you guys vote, how you vote, etc., etc. So if you've got time, spend some time, jump on the link, fill it in. But yeah. That's basically it. I don't have much to really add. Nothing left for me to talk about or talk. Yeah. The simulator's getting bigger. If you haven't used the simulator, it isn't for me again. Like, because I've played a lot of TTS. There are some elements of TTS that I just prefer, and as a result, the simulator doesn't do what I want it to do, and that's just me. So, Wink, if you've never seen the sim, it looks a little bit like this. Do check it out. Chris is kind of developing this. A guy called Chris. He's got his own Discord channel, and to be fair to him, he's done a lot of work on it, and it is good. I know some people prefer using it. It works on tablets. It may work on a mobile phone, but to be honest, it probably won't. Not very easily. Depends on the type of mobile phone you've got. And yeah, it's the same as kind of what you'd expect. You can import lists. Let's just import some random stuff here for the moment. Let's add a unit Stark Bowman, some Tully Sworn Shield, and then I'll be really original by adding 2 units of Tully Cavaliers. And it gives you a chance to play online, on the move, with people that you may or may not know, and enjoy your life. Woo-hey. Let's go forward 10 inches. And then turn. Woo-hey. This unit is a unit of bowmen, so they need to go forward 10 inches first thing. And then they go forward another 10 inches on round 2. So your bowmen should end up roughly there at the end of round 2. And just so you know, turn them 180 degrees. Appreciate the feedback on the event a lot. Hopefully you get this. Yeah, definitely will. I'll have to head down, Tom. In fact, if your club night is a certain night of the week, Tom, let me know, and I'll see if I can come down after work at some point. Yeah. This is it. This is the sim, though. It's good fun. Obviously, playing the game is good fun. We're going to enjoy yourself with it if you haven't already. There's all the things you want it to do. You can play full games. The community there is growing, and it's funny seeing the community grow, actually, because a lot of them have clearly never played online before, and they're running the events that we used to run back in the early TTS days. Similar kind of events, similar kind of pitfalls, similar kind of issues being raised, etc., etc. And it is really funny watching them run their events, because the same things that we were tackling like 3 or 4 years ago are being discussed, and it's really good to see them kind of hashing it out and having those conversations, which is good. It's healthy. It's good to see more community grow. Yeah, you too, Tom. But all right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I don't really know what to add. I'm going to do some thinking, do some list building, come back maybe next week with some thoughts and feelings around list building, perhaps, because I'm going to have to build something for the NGT. And we'll see. Maybe I'll have a whole new army with the best character in the game in it. We'll see. We will see. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll do a rundown of tournaments that are coming up, because why not? We always do that. See if there's anything important this week. We've got an event in Poland on Tuesday. We've got what looks like to be like a month-long event type thing this month, running from April through to the end of May. Event in Russia. That was in Ostrich, which is Austria. We've got an event in Russia, an event in Germany, an event in Angers in France. Gaillard the Green, Carl. We've got an event in Quebec, Canada, which is cool. Great Escape Games are running Rise of the Kraken in Sacramento, California. An event in Poland in Chorzów. Pronounce that even remotely correctly. Another event in Russia, in Kazan, in Mind Games. A DMG local event this weekend. This will be for the DMG guys, I'm guessing. Yeah, this is the DMG guys over in Redcar, running an event this weekend as well. Probably in prep for their Northern Grand Tournament not this weekend, next weekend. An event in Chattanooga Valley in Tennessee, as well as an event in Overland Park in Kansas. Dance of Dragons. Quest Hobbies and Games running an event in Mexico City. Good to see the Mexican community still going. Another TTS tournament. This is a small TTS tournament. I have no idea who it's run by, but it's a 16-player TTS tournament. Oh, I know this one. This is an event run by Atissa. Atti-Roan. Atissa's run a 16-player event. And as we can see, that's already filled up and will be starting soon probably, and is a right mix of who's who of the TTS teams. TTS players, sorry. An event in La Réunion. An event in Russia, although that's moving through to back end of next week, so we'll leave those. But yeah, there we go. That's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 events this weekend. This week into next weekend. GCS with Vargo attachment for 9 points in Boltons. Oh yeah. Don't do that. That sounds terrible. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that is really good. I'm watching this event, see how this one plays out. It'll be good to see. Actually, some interesting newer names and some different people on there than I'd normally expect. Ooh. Interesting. Sorry. But yeah. Alright then, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Short one this week. Only an hour and 20. If you've got anything you want to send me, or if there's any topics you want to discuss, please let me know either on the NRG Discord, the NRG/Stats Discord, or in a comment down below, liking the video along the way. Just let me know if there's anything you want me to cover directly, some topic areas, and I will see what I can do. I keep flip-flopping around, introducing some more series of videos to the site, to the YouTube, regarding a few things with the website, some kind of tips and tricks when it comes to gaming, etc. But ultimately, I just haven't been in the right mindset and the mood for it. But there are some things I'd love to do. It's just the motivation's not there, and I don't know if it ever will be. So I don't know if those will ever materialize. In truth. So yeah. Anyway, you guys take it easy. I hope everyone has a great week. Everyone keeps enjoying the game. And I will see you probably next week. Take it easy.
Ready? Aim!
There's too many.
Anyone see my mammoth?
Stop me!